Hey, you gamer. Yeah, you. Do you love your Nintendo Switch? But, let me guess. You are just tired of playing the same old Zeldas and Marios after eight years? Jesus Christ. After 8 years? What are you gonna even play? Donkey Kong Country Returns HD? Come on, I know you. You already played that on the Wii 15 years ago. Well, don't you worry, because I've got you covered. I'm about to hit you with 10 plus games you've probably never played. That's right, hidden gems hiding in plain sight, ready to blow your mind and give your Nintendo Switch the glow up it deserves. Stay tuned to find out more. Let's talk about the Nintendo Switch, our little hybrid buddy that's somehow still kicking since 2017. To put that in perspective, when the Switch launched, fidget spinners were still a thing, Despacito was playing everywhere, and Game of Thrones hadn't crashed and burned. Do you feel old yet? Nintendo was practically dead after the Wii U, hanging only by a thread named 3DS. Well, okay, the Wii U was kind of a disaster, but it didn't deserve all the hate. It is like that kid in your school who's trying so hard but just can't fit in. You respect the effort, but you're not inviting it for your birthday party. Then the Switch came in and changed everything. It wasn't just a console, it was a redemption arc, Nintendo's Rocky Balboa moment. And boy, did Nintendo bring the hits. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Animal Crossing New Horizons, you name it! This thing didn't just put Nintendo back on the map, suddenly it was everywhere. It became the cool thing to have. Whether you were ending friendships with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or ending friendships with Smash Ultimate, or ending friendships in Super Mario Party. Yeah, a lot of friendships die on their thing. But here we are in the twilight years of the console, with the Switch 2 looming over the horizon. The Switch has so many huge, flashy releases and so much absolute garbage clogging up the eShop that it's easy for some genuinely great games to get buried. That's what we're gonna talk about today, the hidden gems, and I've got 10 of them lined up for this video. Quick side note though, while this list focuses on the Switch, a bunch of the games I'm gonna talk about aren't tied down to just one platform. Many of them are also available on PC and sometimes even the other consoles. So no matter where you game, there's a good chance you can snag these treasures on your platform of choice. So whether you are Team Joy-Con, mouse and keyboard or DualShock, there's no excuse to miss on these incredible games. So just stick around, you might just find your next favorite game. But before we get to the main events, we need to talk about some honorable mentions. Think of this as the pre-game warm-up before you hit the real highlights. You don't wanna miss either of them. Bakeru comes from Good Fuel, the masterminds behind Princess Peach Showtime, and it absolutely lives up to their reputation. People like to call it a spiritual successor to Mystical Ninja Goemon, but honestly, it's giving me major Kirby vibes too, and that's high praise. It's an honest-to-god 3D platformer with a little slice of retro-inspired magic. The game uses personality, with levels packed full of delightful details, like enemies just vibing on the background as you are platforming. If you love quirky, colorful platformers, Bakeru deserves a spot on your radar. It was featured in a Japanese Nintendo Direct, so it didn't quite make the list. Steven Universe Save the Light didn't crack the main list because, well, it's tied to a big Cartoon Network IP. But don't let that fool you, this is a surprisingly solid casual RPG that fans of Paper Mario will feel right at home with. The game captures the charm of the show perfectly, from its colorful visuals to its light-hearted dialogue. The turn-based combat mixes simplicity with just enough strategy to keep things engaging, and the whole experience feels like a warm, crystal-powered hug. It might not reinvent the RPG wheel, but for fans of Steven Universe or anyone looking for a cozy, approachable adventure, Save the Light shines just bright enough. Wonder Boy Asha in Monster Road is actually a remake of Monster Road 4 for the Sega Genesis, which in turn is one of the best games to ever grace that console. The remake keeps the heart of the original intact while giving it a fresh coat of 3D paint. It's a charming platformer action hybrid with fun exploration, engaging combat, and that same nostalgic magic that made the Genesis version a classic. Asha's journey alongside her adorable pet Pepe Lagoon is as delightful now as it was back then. The original is still slightly better in my opinion, but hey, if you manage to get your hands in the physical release, it comes with the Genesis game as a bonus. But by the end of the day, it is still ties to a somewhat well-known franchise, making it fall short of the main list. The Tourist might have gotten a little extra spotlight thanks to Arlo's coverage, but it still deserves a shoutout. This is an indie gem that combines laid-back exploration with surprisingly clever puzzles, all wrapped up in a gorgeous voxel art style that pops off the screen. You will be hopping between colorful islands, uncovering secrets and diving to the mysterious temples that feel like bite-sized Zelda dungeons. It's relaxing, engaging, and just the right amount of challenging to keep you hooked. Whether you are a casual adventurer or a puzzle enthusiast, The Tourist is the perfect getaway without leaving your couch. Some games just hit you with a perfect blend of style and substance, and Death's Door is one of them. This is an isometric action adventure where you play as a tiny crow ripping souls. And it's somehow both melancholic and full of charm. The combat is sharp and responsive, the road is packed with secrets, and the art direction is downright stunning. Add to that an evocative soundtrack, and you've got yourself a game that's immersive as it's challenging. Death's Door isn't just an honorable mention, it's a game that flirts with greatness. But being featured in a Nintendo Direct isn't fair game, so no dice for this one. Alright, those were the appetizers, the games that deserve a nod but couldn't quite crack the top list. But now it's time to dig the main course, the real deal, the hidden gems that deserve their moment in the spotlight. So, grab your Nintendo Switch, clear some space on your microSD card, and let's get into the good stuff. Hidden gems, here I come. We start our magical mystery tour of Switch hidden gems with Lunistice. This game got a whole ass video dedicated to it on Nintendo Live, and it almost got demoted to an honorable mention because of that, but I still think it deserves as much love as it can get. Imagine for a second that the Sega Saturn actually got a decent Sonic game, what would that look like? Well, Lunistice. This is a 3D speedy platformer that screams PlayStation Sega Saturn vibes, right down to the deliciously chunky low-poly graphics. But don't let those retro visuals fool you, this game is smoother than a fresh butter croissant, it's all charm, no clunky. The flow of the gameplay is chef's kiss. It's one of those games where you hit a rhythm, clearing platformings and zooming around at full speed, and it feels good. Like, weirdly good. You know that satisfying itch in your brain when something just clicks? Yeah, Lunistice is scratching it. And let me warn you, this game is addicting, like just one more level addicting. Except now it's 3 AM and your thumbs are about to fall off, but you are still vibing because you just nailed that perfect run. Honestly, if this dropped back in the 90s, it would have been hailed as the Sonic game of the era. But instead we've got Sonic 3D Blast. Alright, let me introduce you to a game that absolutely refuses to be put in a single journey box. Skybolt Zack. This thing is part rhythm game, part platformer, and all chaos. You are a superpowered dude with rocket punches flying through the air like you are auditioning for a superhero anime or something. The gameplay has you chaining attacks on enemies to the beat of a killer soundtrack, and every perfect combo makes you feel like a goddamn maestro of destruction. It's fast, fluid, and freaking intense. Miss a beat and your run falls apart in a spectacularly embarrassing fashion. Nail it though and you are straight up untouchable. It's one of those games where every button press matters, and the satisfaction of getting it right is off the charts. Visually, it's got this colorful arcade-style aesthetic that practically screams fun. The levels are wild, the pace never lets up, and the challenge curve will absolutely keep you hooked. If you're looking for something that combines rhythm, speed, and precision in a way that feels fresh and completely bananas, this is a must-play. Cavern of Dreams is a collectathon that's basically a love letter to the Nintendo 64. And if you know this channel, you know that I love me some collectathons. This game takes you back to the good old days of gaming, the era when Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64 were kings. You play as this adorable little dragon puppy, and if that alone doesn't sell you this game, I don't know what will. It's got that classic float a little, hop around and snag a bajillion collectibles gameplay that just screams cozy vibes. Visually, it nails the retro aesthetic, grainy texture, chunky models, and enough nostalgia to power a Game Boy for over a year. It feels like you are playing a lost gem from Rare's golden days, or some spin-off Spyro the Dragon game. But what really stands out here is the charm. The road is warm, inviting, and dripping with whimsy. Now, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, the camera, it's a bit finicky. Sometimes it has a mind of its own and insists on showing you the wall instead of what's ahead. So yeah, it basically nails that retro vibe. But honestly, it doesn't ruin the experience. The gameplay is solid enough that you will forgive a few camera tantrums. Cavern of Dreams isn't just a game, it's a vibe. If you're into retro-inspired adventures that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, this one's a no-brainer. Alright, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted to be a dog with a grappling hook? No? Well, neither did I, but after playing Grapple Dog, it's all I can think about. This game is pure 2D platforming joy with a simple, genius hook. Literally. The grappling mechanic is so ridiculously fun it makes you wonder why every platformer doesn't have one. Swinging through levels, chaining perfect grapples, and nailing those impossible jumps feels so good it's borderline illegal. The visuals are bright, bold, and cartoonishly charming. It's got that classic Saturday morning vibe, like something you'd watch with a bowl of cereal to boot. Just add a killer soundtrack and you've got a package that uses personality. Now, don't let the cute dog fool you. This game will test your platforming skills. It's got that sweet balance of being accessible but challenging enough to keep you on your toes. Grapple Dog doesn't just play well, it feels right. It's the kind of game that hooks you and doesn't let go. If you're a fan of tight controls, satisfying mechanic, then this one's a no-brainer. It just recently got a sequel, Grapple Dogs. I have not yet played it, but if it is as fun as this one is, we are in for a treat. So many grapple and dog puns. The many pieces of Mr. Cool is what happens when a fever dream decides to become a video game. And I mean that in the most flattering way possible. It's a point-and-click adventure, but not just the kind your grandpa used to play. This one is a straight-up artistic flex. The hand-drawn graphics and animations are so stunning they could hang in a gallery. Every frame feels alive, weird and oddly beautiful. It's psychedelic, bizarre, and the story? Yeah, good luck trying to explain that. But in short, you just gotta help this dude get his body parts back. And here's the thing, I'm not even point and clicks. Usually I get bored after playing them for 10 or so minutes. But this game, it is so charming and out of pocket that I couldn't stop playing for a second. Every single scene is a visual feast, and I was hooked, just waiting to see what absolutely bonkers thing would come next. And the soundtrack? Perfect. It doesn't just set the mood, it pulls you into the game's strange little universe and refuses to let it go. The combination of visuals and music make this a sensory experience, not just a game. So yeah, the many pieces of Mr. Cool isn't just a hidden gem, it's a freaking treasure chest. If you want something weird, wonderful and completely unforgettable, give this one a go, just be ready to question reality a little bit. Flynn, Son of Crimson is a 2D action platformer that takes you on a wild ride through a beautifully crafted world. I just don't know how they did it, but the pixel art is so detailed, bursting with color that makes you feel like you're playing through an actual painting come to life. In pixel. I seriously, I don't know how they did that. And the gameplay is just as polished. Whether you are slicing through enemies with your trusty Crimson Blade or dodging and weaving through beautifully designed levels, everything feels incredibly satisfying. Adding some light RPG mechanics and upgrades, and you've got a game that keeps you hooked from start to finish. But honestly, it's the visuals that will make you fall in love with this game. Flynn, Son of Crimson isn't just a hidden gem, it's a ruby. If you're a fan of great pixel art and action that's both smooth and satisfying, you're gonna want to dive into this one. Have you ever wanted to scream no at everyone in your life and walk away like a boss? Well, welcome to Say No More. Or Say No More, I don't know. The game that turns the word no into your ultimate weapon. The plot? Ridiculously simple and gloriously absurd. You're stuck in an office full of people who won't take no for an answer. Until now. Armed with a big old no, you go on a journey of rejecting everything from obnoxious coworkers to soul-sucking bosses, and let me tell you, it's really cathartic. Visually, it's rocking this charming low-poly art style that perfectly matches its goofy tone. It doesn't take itself seriously, and honestly, neither should you. The real magic is watching everyone shout at literally fly across the room in overly dramatic fashion. The gameplay? It's not about depth, it's about vibes. We're just here to laugh, yell no in increasingly ridiculous ways, and revel in the chaos. And somehow it works. Say no more is a short experience. Need to blow off some steam? Hate off sculpture? Just wanna say no for once? This game gets it, and it's an absolutely blast. Now, if you are into high-speed run-and-gun action platformers, Berserk Boy is what you need. The developer straight up admitted it on Twitter that they were inspired by Pulseman, Mega Man ZX, and Sonic Advance. And let me tell you, this game absolutely nails that vibe. What's not to love here? It's like they cherry-picked everything awesome from those games and smashed into one glorious explosion of pixel art and tight gameplay. You'll be zipping through levels, taking down enemies, jumping off walls, and basically feeling like a total badass with every move. The fluidity here is insane, the speed is relentless and it never lets up. And the art? Holy look at it! Look at it! The pixel art is like a love letter to the retro aesthetics, but with that juicy modern polish. The characters, the environments, the animations, all of it is a treat for the eyes. But here's the kicker, Berserk Boy isn't just a nostalgia trip. This is the kind of game where you are just one more level away from unlocking something awesome. And before you know it, hours have slipped by. If you want a game that keeps you on the edge of your seat and makes you feel like you're living on the edge, Berserk Boy is your ticket. Castaway wears its Link's Awakening inspiration like a badge of honor. And honestly, why wouldn't it? This game leans into the classic top-down Zelda formula with puzzles, explorations, and quirky NPCs, but manages to stand out by adding its own flair. It's not a copycat, it is a love letter to an era of gaming that still hits just right. The 8-bit stylized graphics are nothing short of delightful. They are retro in the best way possible, capturing that nostalgic Game Boy feel, but with a little extra polish. What really makes Castaway shine is its pacing. This isn't a sprawling 40-hour epic, it's a bite-sized escape into a relaxing, puzzle-filled world. Perfect for those moments where you just want to unwind, without feeling overwhelmed. If you ever wondered what it would feel like to revisit your childhood adventures with a fresh coat of paint, Castaway is the perfect way to set sail on a nostalgic journey without ever leaving your couch. If you're like me and just want a modern Punch-Out, but it seems Nintendo killed and buried that IP, well, Thunder Ray is your gem with a dose of style. It's been over a decade since we last saw a proper Punch-Out game, so somebody had to step up and fill those gloves, and Thunder Ray delivers a knockout performance. This game is a knockout, literally. It's a boxing game with mechanics that feel snappy, challenging, and oh so satisfying. The real star here though, the visuals. This thing is dripping with hand-drawn goodness. Everything looks like it was ripped straight off a graphic novel, and the exaggerated character designs are pure eye candy. It's got this bold, in-your-face aesthetic that makes even losing feel like kind of epic. And the gameplay? Tight and addictive. It's all about reading your opponent, dodging like a pro, and delivering those devastating counterpunches. It's easy to pick up, but hard to master, and that's exactly what I want from a game like this. Thunder Ray is more than a boxing game, it's a spectacle. If you love precision gameplay, killer art, and the thrill of taking down larger-than-life opponents, step into the ring. Just be ready to sweat, this one is no walk in the park. Alright, I'll admit it, roguelikes aren't usually my thing, but Going Under is so gloriously unserious that it charmed its way into my cold, dead gamer heart. The setup is genius. You are an unpaid intern fighting through dungeons inspired by failed startup companies. Yes, you heard that right, corporate hellscapes, filled with discarded ideas, absurd enemies, and a lot of office supplies doubling as weapons. It's a satire that hits way too close to home, and it's hilarious for it. Visually, it's a treat. The bright, low-poly graphics use charm, turning every failed startup in a playground of chaos. Again with that PlayStation or Nintendo 64 style. The designs are sharp and colorful, making the ridiculous world feel alive and fun to explore. The combat is fast, the weapons are a joke, and the sheer absurdity of each dungeon keeps things fresh. And honestly, it's way too satisfying to smack corporate drones with a giant stapler. Going Under doesn't just poke fun at corporate culture, it shoves it into a dungeon, hands you a pool noodle and lets you go to town. If If you're looking for a simple roguelike that's as clever as chaotic, this one is a must-play. And that's a wrap. But hey, this is just a start. There are plenty more hidden gems out there waiting to be uncovered. Did I miss one of your favorites? Well, let me know down in the comments, because I'm always up for finding my next favorites. And maybe even share this with a friend who needs to beef up their Switch library. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time. Cue the outro.